Hey, what's up? I'm Neil.
And I'm Brendan.
And Guild Wars 2's new expansion, Path of Fire, is releasing September 22nd, 2017. People love expansions, and people always return to MMOs or try them for the first time when a new expansion drops.
And we thought this would be a good time to review Guild Wars 2 as a player who's never played the game before.
And a player who's been following and returning to the game since its initial release. If I could sum up Guild Wars 2, it's the most beautiful MMO made for casual MMO players and players who love exploring. The stunning graphics and the landscapes are top-notch, from the spell effects that resemble brushstrokes to the massive structures you'll come across. It will blow you away. And the Guild Wars 2 team knows this. They know they did a good job. That's why throughout the map they've placed these points you can interact with called vistas. You'll spend your time climbing to the top of, let's say, a mountain or wandering through a cave. Your reward for exploring is this breathtaking panoramic view of the world around you. You'll see waterfalls, floating castles, massive enemy camps that you'll have to explore later on down the line. You actually get to take it all in. Guild Wars 2 encourages you to take a break, stop and smell the roses, and you're not in a hurry. It's very refreshing after playing games like Albion or World of Warcraft, where you're constantly in danger, always watching your back, or constantly grinding for the fastest way to be rewarded for the time you put in. It's chill, and that's sometimes the kind of game you need.
So what's the combat style like? Like, do you have tanks and healers? Are you all DPS? Like, what's the style like of the game?
It's sort of a mix. Guild Wars 2's biggest selling point when it first released is the abolishment of the dedicated class roles. So the holy trinity of tank, healer, and DPS was getting a little stale back in 2012 when the game first released, so they went in a different direction. Every class has a healing ability, every class has some mechanic where you can dodge damage, and it's up to you and your specialization options and choices you make. If you want to lean more healy, want to lean more tanky, more damage dealy, etc. It's an awesome idea and it's fun for a while, but like all MMOs, the best builds, quote unquote, began to surface and the builds all started to look pretty similar for the most part. I will say the amount of customization for the classes in Guild Wars 2 is still pretty big today. So I won't bash it too hard. They do a good job working with what they have.
So what's the PvE content like? Raids, dungeons, like how similar are they to the big MMOs out there?
I'm gonna be honest, there wasn't much in terms of structured PvE content on release, but Guild Wars 2 made some major strides to remedy this in the future. Now the game has both raids and dungeons, similar to what we've seen in other AAA MMOs. The fractal dungeons in Guild Wars 2 are very good. 1, they're short. 2, they're similar to Mythic Pluses in World of Warcraft. You beat a level of fractal dungeon, and the next fractal you do will take a step up in difficulty. You can unlock items that allow you to take less damage in fractals, making it easier to progress. It's a good, simple system, and it works. Raids, I'm a little torn on. These were added in the most recent expansion for the game. You can't outgear raid mechanics, so it's easier. Raids are all about mechanics, so if you can't get the mechanics down, you will not kill the boss. It's just that simple. And because of Guild Wars 2's gearing system, you won't be getting better gear that's better than what you're wearing all the time. There's no real gear treadmill in Guild Wars 2. We're about to experience our second expansion, and I'm still using most of the same items I crafted when I hit max level back in 2012. This is good and bad. Good because when I return to the game, I don't have to grind new items. I can hop right into new content and just go. And it's bad because I feel the raid difficulty doesn't justify the rewards. People like loot, but if your gear is fine the way it is, then why am I raising my blood pressure, slamming my head against the wall to kill this raid boss? There's no carrot at the end of the stick besides vanity items and achievements. And if you don't care about that, there's no real reason to participate in the content.
So what is the end goal in Guild Wars? Like, or is there one?
That's actually a big question for Guild Wars. A lot of people aren't used to the way they do things. So the whole idea for Guild Wars 2 from the initial start was you shouldn't have to wait to in-game to do what you want to do. You should be doing what you like through the entire game all the way up to max level. And then once you're max level, you just continue doing what you love. There should never be a grind before you get to the end game content. And that's turned a lot of people off. A lot of people didn't understand that when they first played. They get to max level, found out it was just the same thing as what they were doing leveling, whether it's big world events, cool quests, exploring. They were thinking there was going to be some big, again, carrot at the end of the stick, and there isn't one. The fact is, if you liked leveling and discovering all this crazy stuff and seeing all these cool things and exploring this vast world, this grand world that they've created, then you're not really racing for max level. You're not really... There is no real end game. The goal is to have fun until, you've had your fill. And this is what I do. I move on to the next MMO. But I always end up coming back. It's like a palate cleanser almost. The game is like a palate cleanser, where I'll come back to Guild Wars, get a feel for it, do something fun, see what's new. And then I'll go back to playing World of Warcraft. I'll go back to playing Albion, Terra, whatever I'm playing at the time.
Alright, so we've gotten into the PvE aspect of the game. So what's the PvP like? What do we have arenas? Do we have battlegrounds, open PvP?
There is the structured battleground stuff where you choose your loadout and go, no leveling required. And there is this entire world dedicated to PvP. It'll pit the different servers in a 3-way battle for territory in this huge map. The issue for me is it's been a total Zerg fest for as long as the game's been out. And that's not fun for me. There's no incentive to roam by yourself or with a buddy. You have to stick with the Zerg or you won't earn anything to justify your time. And that's an issue. I don't feel like I'm in a war zone. I don't feel like I'm fighting this epic battle for territory like initially advertised. It's been reduced to follow the leader. ArenaNet just mentioned a couple days ago in a forum post that they're trying to make some changes to the system. I assume they're going to make those changes for Path of Fire, but my outlook is doubtful that much will change after 5 years of having the same thing.
So the big question is, as me as a newbie and you as a veteran, we're kind of on different levels in the game. And so if I start off brand new, are we going to be able to play together? Is there going to be an issue there?
Yes, we can totally play together. That was one of the coolest things about Guild Wars 2. For one, with the purchase of the new expansion, you'll receive a level boost to catch up to me, so you'll be the same level I am. If you aren't sure yet if you want to purchase the new expansion, the core game is free, so you can hop in and I can play where you are. My character will be scaled down to the starter zones that you'll be exploring. I'll be more powerful, but not one-shot all the noobs powerful. It'll feel like we're generally equals. I won't come in and power level you, we'll actually be able to help each other. It won't be so one-sided.
So what's one of the big reasons to buy this new expansion in Guild Wars, Path of Fire?
The huge open world events and the hidden secrets are the biggest selling points for me. With Path of Fire, the maps are supposed to be even bigger and grander. That means even more cool secrets to find. You're screwing around with your bros and you'll find a hole in the wall, and that hole leads to a hidden base full of ghost pirates. And if you make it to the ghost ship, you're rewarded with a huge treasure chest and a Goonies reference. Or you stumble across this dude looking to finish his cannons placed on a mountainside. If you gather some stuff for him and help him finish, he builds the cannons, and this huge ice dragon swoops over the top of the mountain, and you realize why this dude was building the cannons in the first place. It truly feels dynamic and changing, and you feel like you're the catalyst for what comes next. There's not a lot of MMOs out there right now that are doing this in a natural way like Guild Wars is. The Guild Wars 2 totally pulls it off.
This time we'll bring it down. For good. Fire away!
I do have to give ArenaNet some credit because the improvements made to the game now versus its initial release is wild. They took a lot from MMOs and improved the concepts to make them simpler or less of a headache, like the daily reward system, for example. All you have to do is just log in. You don't actually have to do any quests or dailies. You never feel like you're missing out on anything if you can't log in for more than 5 minutes one day. Earning achievement points earns you cool stuff. They're not just points that sit there and you can measure your EPEAM. Going to lower level zones, like I mentioned earlier, still rewards higher level players, so there's actually an incentive to play with your friends who are just starting out. The game is fun, and that pretty much sums up Guild Wars 2, and I can't wait to see what cool stuff Path of Fire brings.
Alright, well, sounds interesting. I'll probably give it a shot here in the next week or so.
Yeah, totally. No, we'll get you set up with some early account stuff, and we can actually get you ready for Path of Fire,
which will be coming out September 22nd, 2017.
If you guys like this style of review, if you guys like that we're reviewing other MMOs, let us know in the comments below. If you hate this style of review, if you hate that we're reviewing other MMOs, let us know in the comments. We are always looking for feedback, and we want to do what you guys want to see. So let us know.
Bye.
Bye.
Swift and steady. Swift and steady.
I just pulled that out of my ass.